What's up, everyone? Back at it, chilling again. Just chilling and maintaining, man. Haven't talked to you guys for a while. Uh, January 19th, man, 1:40. And this glorious afternoon, right now, I'm over here chilling on City Island. Taking a walk, a little breezy out this piece. Um, yeah, it's snow. But nice and sunny though. Still very beautiful. Still want to just come out here and take a walk, man. Still looking good, smelling good for the most part though. First and foremost, Philadelphia Eagles disappointed me, man. That wasn't cool. So, better luck next year. We can see how it go. But yeah, you know what I mean? So for the most part, just out here chilling, man, and just decided to come out here and take a walk, in City Island, man, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? And just coming out here, just taking a walk, man. People out here jogging, families out here chilling, and still beautiful, man, even on a cold, breezy day. God is still God, you know what I'm saying? So one of the things we gotta do is just admire God's creation. So, City Island, this is what it's all about. Harrisburg skyline over there. See the river rolling. Susquehanna River, man. Whenever you guys from out of states, out of cities, man, get an opportunity to come down to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, definitely come over here to City Island, though, man. It's always a cool place. I said it in one of my last videos, though. I know I keep on talking about it, but, I really couldn't upload that one. Not because it was vulgar or anything, but, just couldn't do it, you know what I mean? So, but it's there. Eventually I will. I think that's like, my fourth video, though, but I enjoy doing that one as well, just like I enjoy, doing all of them. But, like I said, nice sunny day, man. Still always good to come out here and get a walk, looking good, smelling good as usual, you know what I mean? Just maintaining, man, working hard, man, and, still working hard. I worked, 11 to 7 last night, and then 7 to 11 in the morning, so, definitely been working hard, man, and, really getting not too much sleep, though, but, I got to do what I got to do. After work, talk to my daughter, for a little while, asked her how she was doing at school, and, told her how I was doing at work, though. So, she got a birthday coming up in February. And, and then Valentine's Day, I plan on taking, both of my daughters out. And then even though we got people coming up one ways, man, it's all well and good, man. You always got to be aware of all of that. Check it out. See, stop sign is right there. You know what I mean? Killing me, though. But, yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah, just come out here, just taking a nice walk, chilling, man. Sometimes we gotta come out here as men, just people in general. Welcome to the Skyline Sports Complex, home of the Knights, Central Penn College. Central Penn Piranhas, minor league football team. I used to play over there on that field. And, I don't know what's up with them now, though, but, yeah, though, so, Central Penn, home of the Central Penn Knights. So, I guess they do, like, soccer stuff over there, but let's go over there and check it out, though. I ain't really trying to slip out here in the snow, though, but once again, look at that Harrisburg, Pennsylvania skyline. And, yeah, it's just beautiful, man. Look at that. Look at that flag, man. America, man, home of the brave. Let freedom ring, man. Everywhere else is beautiful. There's beautiful countries, man. There's beautiful cities, beautiful states, beautiful continents, all that, though. But, for me, I know we all got our own personal views, though, but ain't nothing like America, man. You know what I mean? So, we all have our own personal views, like I said, but, this is America, and a lot of places you ain't gonna be able to walk. And, you know, post videos and do videos, you know, like I'm doing now. In some countries, though, you know, it is what it is, though. But yeah. Oh, this right here is the field. It's a football field, 100 yards. Soccer field, utilized. Over there, we got volleyball. Um, you know, yeah, so I'm coming over here, right behind me, right over there is, you know, the Harrisburg Senators. That's our minor league baseball squad. Affiliation with the Washington Nationals. You know, I'm not a Washington Nationals fan, but, you know, I'm a Phillies fan. Go Phillies. You know what I mean? But we definitely had a lot of great players, you know, coming to play for you know, for the Harrisburg Senators, you know, here in Pennsylvania, man. And, you know, a couple of them though. You know, one of them, Bryce Harper. I'm gonna name some as I'm walking past though, but yeah, you know, it's always good to see, you know, guys come in and, you know, play for this city, man, play for this team, for this great organization, and then go out there to the big leagues and still represent those. So yeah, you know what I mean? But you know, just coming out here taking a walk. You know, I wasn't even really planning on doing this video like this though, you know, so you know, I was planning on doing something else after planning on doing something else. And but God just keep on, you know, changing my plans though. So but which is good because, you know, the video that I actually was going to do initially, you know, I was going to really, you know, really go deep into my situation, really going deep into, you know, why I'm homeless, why I've been going through that, you know, and why I was living in the men's mission, homeless shelter, and, you know, why I became divorced. So, but I'm really praying to God, you know, about that though, because it's going to get heavy. You know, it's going to get heavy with it. It's going to get heavy with the topics. It's going to get heavy with the situation. So I still just want to use, still just want to be, you know, and I still just want to use wisdom with it. I still want to represent Christ with it. You know, so I definitely want to go about it right. You know, I don't want to go ahead of Christ. You know, I don't want to go ahead of God, man. I know I'm at where I'm at right now at this level in my life, you know, whether if it's just whatever it is. And I'm at this type of level, and this is the level that I'm at. You know, am I cool with it? I'm comfortable right now. I'm cool, you know what I mean? But I also know that, you know, as we're living and as we're growing, especially as men, it's always good to elevate. It's always good to, you know, grow into the things of Christ, man. And like I said before in the other videos, man, we may not be on, you know, everybody else's time. We may not be on, you know, their time and how they view us and our walk and our journey and our path. It may not be, but we definitely want people to be around us. We definitely want people who can support us and love us and nourish us and you know, respect us for that path and add and build onto it though, not tear us down and bring us down. So, you know, like I said, I mean, it's you know, this video wasn't really planned to go this way. You know, it just wasn't planned to go this way though. But, you know, like I said, I mean, definitely had some good intentions, definitely on the right track. But God just had a different way of you know, handling things today at this particular video on City Island. And so yeah, you know, I definitely enjoy like coming out here. You know, definitely enjoy coming out here. Definitely enjoy it. You know, this is a staple in the city of Harrisburg though. So it's always good, man, to come out here. People out here always taking a walk and walking their dogs, and families out here, children out here, water golf. I mean, we'll pass that. Everything though, so you know, you guys get opportunity to come out here, man, and chill and relax. And then, like I said, even if it's a breezy day, you know, still come outside and get some air, man, and you know, just adjust, throwing a coat, throwing a hat, and you still come. It's a little breezy down here, simply because I'm around, you know, surrounded by the water, but you know, it is brisk. It's been like 30 something degrees out this piece, man, and the wind is rolling, but it's still sunny, man. You know, we always still got to come out here and enjoy, enjoy the sights that God created, though. So, you know, like I said, I mean, you know, this video I wasn't planning. I wasn't planning on doing this video, and then, you know, God just changed. He just changed my plans like 20 minutes ago, you know. So, you know, woke up after I got done talking to my daughter yesterday. You know, went to sleep. Woke up about like 9. Chilled in the car for a while. You know, listened to some more podcasts and all that. Probably fell asleep around, you know, 12 in the car. And then woke up. Went to go work out in the gym for about 45. Got in the shower. And then, you know, came out here to go take a walk and chill, though. So, yeah, you know what I mean? My plans was a little, you know, it was shifting a little bit, though. But, you know, I'm cool. But I definitely got some good stuff coming up. You know, definitely got some good content coming up, man. So, you know, those who's been watching me, man, those who's been supporting me thus far, liking and subscribing, man, yo, I definitely appreciate it, man. And it's just really not about me. You know, it's just basically just about just encouraging people, just in general, you know, who's going through, you know, situations just in life in general. I'm not, you know, I don't come on here to proclaim to be a preacher or a pastor or nothing like that. I'm not an evangelist. I don't got it all together. You know, I don't got it all figured out. But, you know, what I could say is that, you know, I go through situations as well. Just as well as the next man, And, but I also learned and I figured out ways to get out of those situations through experience, through life, through prayer, and just with God, though. So, and with people around you. So, you know, I'm just basically here to share, you know, some of those things, that can help you as well. And like I said, our walks is different. You know, our walks is different. I'm not going to get up here and proclaim to be anything else or anything more than what I am right now. You know, I'm not going to say I'm your average guy, though, because I'm not. Ain't nothing really average about me. But, you know, I'm different. I'm unique. We're all different and unique in our ways, though. So how God created us. But, you know, I ain't perfect. You know, I'm not perfect, though. I still like to enjoy beer here and there. I really, you know, slowed it down a lot, though. I'll get into all that later on. I do like to play the game. I do like to go to the cigar lounge. You know, I like to eat. You know what I mean? So I like to take walks. You know, I get peed off just as well as everybody else get peed off. I think about knocking somebody out just as well as everybody else think about knocking somebody out at times. The enemy comes in and messes with my brain as well. When I'm thinking thoughts, when I'm battling in my brain about, you know, unforgiveness or things like that. Though, so I'm just like you guys. You know, I can relate. I've been through it. You know, I experienced it. But, you know, I'm just coming down. It's just coming to, you know, it's basically just coming down to, you know, just how you handle it. You know, how you handle it. What type of spirituality you got behind it, what type of support you got behind it. Do you understand? Do you know? Or are you willing to let go? Are you willing to forgive? Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to educate? Are you willing to use your knowledge and experiences as a testimony to help others? So, you know, that's basically the meat, steak, potatoes, you know, of these videos for the most part. And like I said, there's going to be other things I'm going to be talking about. But, you know, just right now, I'm working with, you know, nothing but, you know, specifically, you know, my phone. You know, I'm looking into how to add stuff and thumbnails and things like that, though. So I'm learning. You know, once I get a place, then I could be able to set up shop like that. And, you know, I'll be able to have a little station and do a little bit more quality, videos and things like that, and add, those special effects and things like that though. So, um, but yeah, I'm just starting out, and like I said, I don't know who's been watching or whatever though, but I appreciate it. I pray that you guys is finding something out of it though, and you know, and learning and just encouraging, man, and just encouraging yourselves and encouraging others though. I know sometimes in my videos I may stutter a little bit, but if there's anything that you guys need as far as more understanding, or what did I mean by this, or what did I mean by saying this or saying that, feel free to comment, feel free to ask the question. I'm open. I definitely want everybody to get clarification and really understand what I'm saying though. So but I do, at times I do have a stuttering problem. My dad as well, and even my younger sister, but I do. So it's not as bad though, but I do. So sometimes that happens though. But yeah, but one thing I wanted to read though, what I mean, before we continue this walk is back in our 3-minute devotions for men. Just want to read that real quick. Then as we taking a walk and everything, this one reads, life for your path. The path of righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Proverbs 4:18. Your way may seem unclear at times, but if you stay close to God, living in his presence, you'll share in his spirit, in his holiness. You may not feel all that enlightened or righteous much of the time, but as long as you're seeking the Lord and doing your best to obey him, he will hear your prayers and guide and protect you. Then, slowly but surely, just as the initial glow in the sky, dawn gives way to the full light of day. The sun will rise and God's blessing will be made manifest in your life. It may take a while, and you may have to walk cautiously at first, feeling your way in semi-darkness. But God has promised to be with you, so he will be. The Bible says that Jesus, God's Son, is the true light, which gives light to every man coming into the world. John 1:9. Walk in his truth and you won't be in darkness. Dear Father, please lead me in the way I should go. Make it clear that you're with me by giving light to my path. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. I'm gonna definitely get back into that. And what I got from that is everybody who basically knows me, especially my children, like I do, I like to be outside. I like to be outside. I believe most of my path and part of my path and journey is outside. When I was younger and going through things, I saw a lot of domestic violence in the household, whether if it was drugs, it was alcohol, my mother being abused, myself being abused, sexually, physically, things like that. And, like I said, I'm gonna get into all that in other videos though, but, and then I always went outside. Like I always left. I went outside. I went outside to the woods. I went outside. I went outside and I hid in the woods. I went outside and I hid in bushes and trees and things like that. So it was rough. It was definitely rough. Oh, real quick. So we're right here passing, the Senator Stadium, Trey Turner. We all know Trey Turner, man. Up in the big leagues, though. He played here. Ian Desmond. Ryan Zimmerman up in this piece. We also have, Michael Barrett. Yeah, man, just to name a few, man. So just to name a couple though. But yeah, we're walking past that right now. And then I'm gonna go up the steps as well, so you guys can really see the field and all that. But and I'm not gonna stop. I'm just gonna show it to y'all though, but I'm just letting you guys know so I can continue what I'm saying though. So But yeah, so as I'm talking, I'm just, showing things, and, just stick with me though. But yeah, as I was saying though, so, just seeing that, experiencing that abuse, things like that, man, especially, my mother being abused. I went outside, I tried to, I hid, I hid in the trees. I hid, I hid in the woods. I hid in dumpsters. I hid behind trash cans. I hid at playgrounds. I hid though, because it was just so much. I couldn't really bear it though. I couldn't really bear it, and then, being so young, and then seeing my mom getting, abused, sexually and physically. I couldn't do anything about it though. Like it hurt me so much that at times, when I try to intervene, I was still overpowered by a grown man. So I would just try to intervene. I try to fight as much as I can, but it didn't really happen though. So, but coming outside though, I always try to find peace outside. I always try to find. I always come out here and admire God's beauty though. I always come out here to admire, everything that what God created. When people run from bees, I admire them. When people look at bugs or stink bugs or things like that, like I admire them. Now, I don't want to be living with the bugs. Like I don't want to be stink bugs and, flies and all that other stuff inside the crib. But, I admire them. I admire them because it's God's creation. Some animals we don't like. Some of us don't like snakes. I understand. But when I really look at a snake though, and when you really look at the pattern, and it's beautiful. Like the patterns is beautiful. How God created them is beautiful. I mean, they're fast, they're cunning, they help out in the barn if you have a farm or something. I mean, so they do have their plan and purpose. Now, once again, would I want to be living amongst a whole bunch of ball pythons? No, I would not. But would I like to look at them from a distance? Yeah. But I do understand that that's what that's how the enemy came down. Man, he came down, as the serpent doing. First he was on legs, so he was on legs at first, and then as soon as God got a hold of him, man, took the legs off, and then he was just up on his belly. But yeah, so I like to be outside. I like to experience the outside a lot. I could sit outside all day, summertime all day, all day. I can. I love it. It's just peaceful to me. So by reading that passage though, when I think about my path, I thought about it today as well. I didn't want to come outside and in the cold and and do this video, because it was just cold though. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to come out here and do the wind and feel the wind and all of that. I didn't want to do it though. So, but then once again, God had a different plan. So I was like, okay, God, man, you definitely talking to me. So, but I do want to do the video. I think it's been like a week and some change. So I'm gonna do a video, and God honored that though. So, like I said, man, he's going to continue to, he's going to continue to work. He's going to continue to guide my path, and just as well as he's going to continue to guide your path. So, but coming out here, always taking walks. Like I said, I'm always down here on City Island, just admiring, City Island and everything. A lot of people from the Berg, man. If you live here all your life, some people's like, man, this city's this city's that though. man, it ain't nothing over here. But you know, when you really dive deep into it, man, and when you really put all that, you know, party and stuff to the side, man, and when you really put all that, you know, Hollywood Pirates of the Caribbean stuff to the side, man, and just really, you know, take a walk in the bird, man, and you really take a walk out here in the community, man, you'll see how beautiful it is. You see how much God created, God's creation out here, though. So, you know, it's definitely a beautiful thing to come out here and walk. Us men, you know, that's important. You know what I mean? It's important to come out here and walk, especially when we're dealing with situations, especially when, you know, especially when we're divorced, especially when we're dealing with breakups, especially when we're dealing with depression and we're dealing with anxiety and we're dealing with things like that. Like, you know, it's important. One of the best things we can do, man, is walk. That's one of the best things we can do is just walk. If it's cold outside, we put on enough, you know, enough garments, enough gear, you know, so we could be warm. You know, one thing I did forget is my gloves, though, so my hands is definitely screaming with coldness, but it's all well and good, though. I can endure. I've been cold before, but yeah, man. So it's always good to come out here and walk, man. Get your mind right. You know what I mean? Come out here, you know, admire God and His beauty, man. Come out here and enjoy life. Come out here and experience nature for what it's worth. Just come out here and just, you know, just take a walk, man. You know, just take a walk, man, and enjoy the snow. Like, take a look at the path. Look at the path ahead of me, man. Look at that road ahead of me. Sometimes, man, the Pilgrim's Progress may not seem too promising. You know, when we walk in this journey, when we're walking in this path, it may not seem that way. Like, we're going to go through hurdles. We're going to go through bumps. We're going to go through roadblocks. Even walking right now on City Island, there's puddles, there's water. There's ice where you can slip. There's water where you can trip and, you know, fall in a puddle. There's speed bumps as well. Who's to say that there's trees and branches and ice that wouldn't fall on you or fall on a car? So even when things is still challenging, and even when things do seem promising, we're still going to go through roadblocks. We're still going to experience roadblocks. We're still going to experience something in our path that is going to hold us down. Man, I never said that this thing is going to be easy. I never said that this walk is going to be easy. It's not. There's nothing easy about this walk at all. It's not even easy to experience the fruits of the walk once you hit the light and you hit the finish line. It's still nothing easy. It's nothing easy about this walk. There's nothing. But even though that is not easy, it's necessary. You know, it's definitely necessary, especially when you try to get yourself on point, especially when you try to maintain your mental, especially when you try to deal with your health, keep your health on point, especially when you try to elevate and figure out your way in life, especially when you try to be a great father, especially when you try to work hard, especially when you try to deal with the divorce that you didn't want to happen, but it did. And you're just asking God, man, just fulfill those areas where I went wrong at. Where did I go wrong at? Show me where I went wrong at. Also show me right now where I could be a better father. Show me right now where I could be more of an asset on my job. Show me now where I could be an asset just in life and just with myself. Show me now where, you know, I could be an asset in the community that we work in and that we live in and that we, you know, raise our children in. The walk is never going to be easy, man. You know, it's never going to be easy. I think this is like a mile or something around this island. And, you know, like I said, you deal with trials and tribulations on your path and on your journey. I just did a little while ago when I said that there was a vehicle traveling up a one-way lane. You know, that's a situation. You know what I mean? That's a roadblock. That's a problem, because even though that I'm walking, and even though that I'm, you know, where I need to be, and even though I'm in position of doing what I'm doing, this guy's driving up a one-way lane. So he's not only putting his life in danger, but he's putting my life in danger, and anybody else's life in danger who's walking that same path that he's driving on. So sometimes, man, you know, sometimes, like, you know, all of our paths, you know, it may not seem like there's light at the end of the tunnel, man. It may not seem like, you know, there's no victory at the end. But man, I'm telling you, man, like, it's better that you walk, and it's better that you take steps, and it's better that you walk on that journey, you walk on that path to figure out and strive for it than not. The worst thing that we can do as men is just sit back and ponder and wonder why things isn't happening the way it should, or we don't see any victory in our lives. The worst thing that we can do is not attempt and not strive and not try to walk on that path, so we can figure out our destiny, and we could be on the path that God created us to be on. It's just better. In other words, it's just better for us to, you know, test those waters, man. Wherever we're lacking in life, wherever we're lacking in our spirit, whatever we're lacking in our physical, take steps. Take a leap of faith. Take some time out for yourself to get your mind right and walk on that path. And like I said, with that passage, like, you know, it just brings me to, you know, where I'm at right now. Like, it was cold. You know, there's a couple people out here, but it's cold. It's windy. But the thing about it, though, is I'm not the only one out here. So if somebody else can come out here with their families and their wives and their children, or somebody just coming out here, you know, jogging, you know, why can't I come out here to encourage y'all? You know, why can't I come out here and, you know, give words of wisdom and show you guys this beautiful scenery behind me, and just let you know that everything's going to be all right. You know, everything is going to be cool, man. You know, just walk that path. And the path consists of everything. Even though I'm walking right now, there's so many things that you could think about on this path right here at City Island. Even though the line is going to come to an end, but you could also walk around and do it again and do it again. Me, I'm not going to do it again, though. But there is a landing point where I'm going to be, and I'm going to finish up this video at. But, yeah, you know, coming out here, man, and you know, test that, man. You know, find a path, you know, find somewhere to walk, you know, find somewhere to be. You know, some of us is going through midlife crises, man. Like, some of us is just like, we're just going through it in one way or another, man. And you know, they usually say, like, right around this time in our lives, once we start hitting 40, 45, then that's when we're really in the peak of our lives. That's when we're really in the peak of our vitality, I believe, our testosterone, or our endurance. Like, right around this time in our age, between 40 and 45, like, we're at the peak. You know, we're at peak male. We're at peak maleness. We're at peak men. You know, we're just at peak, though. We should know at this particular time how to look, how to dress, how to move. You know, we should know how to work. We should know, you know, what to say. We should know how to cook. We should know, you know, certain things that we should know at this particular point. But also, with those things, like, you know, we'll understand that it's still tough and it's still hard, though. But, and even if we're not at that particular point, where we do know, but we should know, and know that we should know, at least we could be at the point to make those strides to get there. So we do know and we can experience the fruits of our labor and, you know, what we should know at our age. I'm not going to lie to you, men, audience. Uh, and like I said, I'm going to get a little bit more deep into it, though, and in some next videos, though. But when I was about to hit 40 years old, I was afraid. I was scared. You know, I was scared. I was definitely going through a mental situation. You know, it was having a very major impact on myself, on my family, on my ex-wife at that particular time, my children. I didn't know what was going on. And like I said, I'm not going to get too deep into it, though. But one of the things that I was scared of was, you know, being that I was turning 40, is that right around the time when I was maybe, you know, 12 years old, I was being sexually abused by an older man. He was 39, and 39, 38, something like that, though. And, you know, that was tough. You know, that was tough. And like I said, it's a lot more to the story. You know, definitely a lot more to the story, but I was being sexually abused, you know, by this man. And, you know, he'll basically just, like, you know, use me to, you know, clean up his house, you know, in the nude, naked, and make money, you know, things like that. Everything was accessible. Alcohol was accessible. Pornography was accessible. Lust, it was all accessible. And here I am, you know, at 12 years old, and you know, and being sexually abused, it was already going on before that time. Before 12, it was going on for a while. But I'm just speaking specifically on this time. But yeah, it was tough. I mean, but anything, you know, anything that was ungodly, anything that was just unclean, I shouldn't be going through that at 12 years old. Doesn't matter. But, you know, all my friends around that time, man, like, it was just rough because like my friends, like, they all had cash and stuff, man. They all had, you know, money and all that. When we go out on the weekends and Fridays or whatever, and then, you know, we all go out and get pizza, man. Everybody got dough. I ain't got dough. You know, so everybody looking out for me. Or I try not to even say anything. And so I'm like, all right, you know, this is just an opportunity for me to go get money. And, you know, and that's what I did. And like I said, it was rough. But, you know, around that time, you know, I don't want to stick too much time on that, though. But basically what I'm saying as far as, like, the mental thing, you know, it was tough. But I remember the guy telling me, you know, when I was younger, that, you know, I'm not going to be anything. I'm going to be just like him. I'm going to just be just like him at that age. And I dealt with that. You know, I was dealing with that. I was holding on to that pain and that hurt for a very, very, very long time. And I was afraid to turn 40 years old. I'm 39, getting ready to turn 40. And on top of, you know, whatever's going on mentally, personally, and everything else in between, you know, his words was really resonating with me. I couldn't really let it go. It was hurting me. And so I was afraid. So on top of, you know, being afraid of, you know, turning, you know, 40, now I'm already thinking suicidal. You know, now I'm already having, you know, suicidal thoughts. Now I'm already thinking, like, you know, this guy, man, like, you know, I can't let it go. But I don't want to say anything about it, though. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to express it too much. I know I talked about it sometimes, you know, with my ex-wife, though, but, you know, it was rough. It was rough. So, but, you know, being outside and, you know, understanding nature And looking at nature, also, got me through that a lot though. Looking at nature and being outside, really got me through a lot of tough times in my life. And, it really helped me at least try to cope, or at least really try to, at least just really just try to release some stuff, if you know what I mean. Those are the times, when I was outside, in the dark, or, behind a trash can, or, inside of a dumpster, or in the woods, trying to build a fort, or, try to find some type of, solace or some type of refuge, with that hurt and pain. I really didn't understand it, when I was younger. I really didn't understand it at that particular time. But those was the times when God was really talking to me though. Now that I look back at it, we're talking in like, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you know what I mean? So young to where I experienced so much already, so much that a child shouldn't even experience half or even just nothing of what I experienced as well. So, it was definitely a tough situation. And, but being outside and finding solace outside and finding some type of, refuge and some type of comfort, it was outside, to get away from the pain, to get away from what I'm experiencing, to get away from, experiencing the domestic violence, experiencing, my mother, being abused, experiencing myself being abused. So, when I come outside and when I walk, like, it's important. I believe like all of us men, like we all do, like we all have to find some type of a good outlet. And we all have to find a good outlet. We definitely do. And me being outside in nature, me being outside taking a walk, me being outside, just admiring, the beauty, the skies, the water, the river, all of that, like that's all important, man. Like we all gotta find something. We all gotta find something that we can, that we can lean on, that can help us through our, through our pain and through our walk. But, like I said, if this path isn't easy. This journey is not easy. Go outside, find your time in the mountain, find your time, like I said, just taking a walk. Just find yourself taking a walk in the park, a state park or something. We definitely need that time. We definitely need that, that space, because, we all go through it. We all go through it, and we all experience, heartache and pain, and we all experience ups and downs and trials and tribulations. So, what we have to do with that pain and what we have to do with those trials and tribulations, that we have to channel it in a great way. Like we have to channel it in a positive way. We have to give those trials and tribulations some positive energy, some positive feedback, because at the drop of a dime, we can allow those situations take over us, and we're going to be no good. So, I just I definitely just want to encourage you guys with that, man. Like, get outside, man. Get outside, experience the weather. Sometimes it is too hot, sometimes it is too cold, but it just still never hurts, to go outside and just experience the weather though, man, and just prepare for it, just prepare for it though. But that's a good thing. And the sun is shining. It is breezy out this piece. Definitely breezy out here. You know, I'm surrounded by the water. Sitting in the car right now trying to warm up a little bit, but in a few more minutes though, before this video is over and I cut it short, you know, we're gonna come out here and take a look at the beachfront and the water out here a little bit, and more of the skyline over here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And you know, like I said, man, like our journey isn't always going to be easy. Even at the finish line, it's not going to be easy because, you know, like I said before in one of the other videos, like, you know, after we get done, you know, enjoying the blessings, after we get done experiencing the blessings, after God already done did, you know, what he said he was going to do, at that particular point, we forget to pray. At that particular point, we forget all about God. At that particular point, we forget about our plan and our purpose. At that particular point, then we come, you know, it seems like we come better than God to where we can't cry out to him anymore. Or we can't, you know, address him anymore. We can't talk to him anymore. Or we just gonna keep on putting prayer to the side because we already done got what he blessed us with. So even that right there is a struggle. But like I said before, like, you know, God can give it, he can take it away. He definitely wants all of us to be, you know, wealthy. He definitely wants all of us to be, you know, rich. He definitely wants all of us to be, you know, in good spirits and in good health and helping each other out, man, and looking out for the poor and, you know, and dying to ourselves for other people. He definitely does, though. There's nothing wrong with us being rich. There's nothing wrong with us having a nice house and a nice car and things like that. Beautiful family and a nice pool and a picket fence. There's nothing wrong with all that, right? But sometimes not sometimes though, but most of the time, when people get blessed with all that stuff, man, then, you know, they forget about God. You know, they forget about, you know, their plan and purpose. They forget about what they got to do to maintain that. So just because you got a nice car though and God bless you with it though, like, how you gonna maintain it? You just gonna ride it to the dirt? You just gonna ride it to all the wheels fall off? And then just hope around, you know, tax time, like, you know, you gonna go get another Benz, and then you gonna have to keep that one service, you know. So you get the crib, all right, cool, you know what I mean, you finally got the crib, man. Then what you gonna do to maintain it? You gonna pay the rent? You gonna make sure the bills is on point? Or you gonna make sure it's clean? You gonna make sure your carpets is clean? You gonna make sure that, you know, your appliances and everything's working? Like, so what you gonna do with it though? You know, so you know, so like I said, man, even like with this even like with our paths in life, like, you know, and once we sort of, you know, experience the finish line, some of us think that we arrived, man, you know, and but we can't roll like that, you know. We can't think like that, you know. We can't think like that. I just now walked around City Island, even though that I hit the finish line and I did about a half a mile or something, or, you know, something around City Island and talk to you guys and, you know, all that other stuff. Once again, I was already faced with obstacles. Number one, the cold. It's cold out this piece. So if I wasn't really prepared out here, you know, for the cold, then I think I would have been even more cold than what I am. But I prepared myself. First and foremost, I prepared myself mentally. Because remember, I said that this video wasn't even supposed to go like this, though. I had other thoughts and I had other plans. So, you know, preparing myself mentally to be like, you know what, I'm not even going to procrastinate. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to put this content out, and I'm going to do what I need to do. You know what I mean? So I'm going to come out here and reach and talk and speak with the people. And then, so mentally, and then, like I said, then the cold. You know, you got to deal with the cold, right? It's cold out this piece. You know, City Island is surrounded by water, by the Susquehanna River, man. And the wind, it gets hectic. You know, it's hectic out this piece. So that's another obstacle. Like I said, the water, the puddles. You know, what is water? Water's H2O. Then it's puddles. Then you talk about the coldness, and you talk about, you know, the temperatures dropping. Then what does water turn into? It turns into ice. So even though that you may see water, though, it may still have some ice in it. So now you're dealing with that obstacle. You gotta be careful when you're walking.
You gotta be careful on that path and on that journey where you're walking, where you're stepping at, because you could slip and fall, right? So that's something else that I had to be aware of. The snow is still out here, even though it's not as much snow, even though that I can be able to maneuver it. But a couple times I did slip when I was showing you guys the football field. So that's the obstacle. But I chose to go up there in that obstacle to take a leap of faith to show you guys what I'm talking about, and you know, give you guys a starting point to where I was going, you know, as far as like taking this walk and encouraging you guys though. So that's another obstacle. Then you have the other obstacle where, you know, where the motorist was driving the vehicle, you know, the opposite way, where, you know, the one way, right? So if he wasn't really paying attention, or if I wasn't really paying attention, or somebody wasn't really paying attention, right, then, you know, he could have hit me, or I could have ran into him. So that's the obstacle. Somebody going in the wrong direction. How many times do we walk our path, and how many times we're on our path and our journey, man, where we have people coming on the opposite way, or we even expecting them or hoping that they're walking with us though, but they're going a whole nother way. That's the obstacle, right? And then even with the wind and all that, even with the tree branches, that's an obstacle. That's a potential obstacle that can happen. You know, walking and a tree may fall, or a branch may fall, something like that. That's an obstacle. And then the other obstacle is the speed bumps. So the speed bumps in the road, that's an obstacle. So the whole time that I'm walking this path and talking to you guys, I'm on a journey and I'm walking through obstacles. And that's exactly what God is going to do. He's going, like, it's going to be obstacles. Like, it's going to be those type of obstacles that we're dealing with. The path and the journey is not going to be pretty. It's not. Even though that it is, even though that I showed you guys the scenery, it is pretty though, but walking the initial path. How many of us like really take a look at the path though, and we don't even walk it, because it's like, yo, we just don't even know what's going to happen in that path. Perfect example. Back in the day, the show Power Rangers was on point. And always, like, just always on point. You know, we are. If you guys grew up, you know, where I grew up at and how I grew up, you already understand the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, man, was on point. Definitely changed the game, man. And I even put my children on it. Me and my ex-wife, we always watched it as well. But y'all remember they came out with the Power Ranger movie, right? And which is on point, and I still watch it now. But remember when they was trying to find, you know, their superpower? Like, remember when they went on the beach, and then they was fighting the you know, the flying things, and then you had the warrior lady coming out with the you know, with the sounds or whatever it was the sounds, and then, you know, the ops, the birds flew away, you know, under Ivan Ooze. And then I forgot the lady though. I forgot the young lady. Then remember that she took the, you know, the Power Rangers to, like, you know, to like a spot to where they you know, to where they got their second power, whether if it was the bear, the falcon, what else, the frog, and a couple other things too. And so she was like, you know, I brought you guys here. Here it is. You know, this is the start of your path. This is the start of your journey. This is it. And it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. But once you reach it, or once you complete it, great things is going to happen. You'll be able to find what you're looking for, and you'll be able to find a solution that you need to defeat Ivan Ooze. And but if you guys remember in the movie, remember when Tommy, you know, he was dressed in all white, And after they got their powers and they got their new garments and their uniforms and everything else, and remember, it was the sun. The sun was coming down, and Tommy, Tommy being the fearless leader that he was, and rest in peace, John David. And but being the leader that he was, though, he was looking. Remember, he was looking at that path. Remember, he was looking at all the trees and the bushes and everything else. And he was like, rubbing his wrists a little bit, like he knew what was going on, like he knew what was popping. He knew what he was about to face on that journey. But he knew exactly what was going on. He knew exactly what was going on and what potentially could happen. But he also knew that he had to lead. He also knew that he had to lead the rest of the Rangers to glory, to victory. Sorry, just getting a little emotional thinking, not because of the movie though, but because it's just really hitting my spirit, because as men, that's just what we got to do, but he knew that it was going to be trials and tribulations on that journey. He knew that he had to lead, his team to victory. Like, he knew he had to do that though. And he turned around, he looked at the Rangers, man. He was like, it's time. It's time. That's what he said, it's time. It's time. So, man, I know you're going through stuff. I know you're going through a divorce. Like, I know you're going through breakup. I know you're dealing with situations in life. I know it's hard. I know that path is hard. But take a leap of faith. And you walk that path. No matter how hard it is, man, you walk that path. Whatever you're dealing with, you walk that path. You walk that path. Whatever you're dealing with, you walk that path. Trust God in that path. The obstacles is going to come. The obstacles is going to hit you in your marriage. Like, they're going to hit you with your children. They're going to hit you at the job. They're going to hit you with your health. They're going to hit you with your mind. They're going to hit you in any way that they're going to hit you in your depression. They're going to hit you in the glory. Like, they're going to hit you. But you just continue to walk that path. Just continue to walk that path. Take a leap of faith and walk that path. And when you walk that path, and when you just try to do better, you will see there's going to be nothing but victory at the end of it. But even with the victory, you can't soak in it too long. You got to continue to build on that victory. You got to continue to build on that success. You got to continue to build on that finish line. Finish line is cool for a little bit because you already done finished it. But make that finish line a checkpoint and go on another path to add on that. That's some important. That's important. That's some serious business, man. That's some serious business. That's some serious business. That's some serious business. Just walking on the path, man. No matter what it is. And like I said, a lot of people are not going to be on your path. A lot of people are not going to understand it. A lot of people's going to laugh at you. A lot of people's going to call you soft because you're getting emotional because you're crying. You'll forget them, man. It don't matter. When you know you're on the path, man, and when you know that there's a journey ahead of you, walk on that path, man. Like, understand that journey. It's a good thing that's going to come out that path, man, especially if you trust in God with it. I said it before, man, about an hour ago. I'm not nobody's preacher, man. I'm not an evangelist. I'm not no deacon. I'm not no reverend. I'm not no bishop. I'm not none of that. You know, I don't proclaim myself to be. I don't come on these videos trying to fake the funk. I don't come on here making it seem like I got it all together. I don't come on here making it seem like I don't battle in my brain, and I don't battle in life, and I don't battle in my mind. I'm not going to come on here and just say, well, yeah, you know, I'm just cool being out here sleeping in my car and everything is just roses and peaches, and it's not. This stuff is tough. It's not easy. I'm not coming out here proclaiming like, you know, everything is just going to be easy just in life because, you know, you walk in this path and you trust in God, though it's not. Relationships isn't easy. You know, being fathers isn't easy. It's not easy. Working the job, man, it's not easy. All that is not easy, though, because you're still dealing with situations on that job and in your life at all times. You know, so it's not an easy situation. But God is basically here to help make it easy. He's here to help you lighten the load. You know, He's here to help you find refuge in Him, you know, during these times, man, during these periods, during these situations where you're feeling low, or when you're feeling lost, or when you're feeling depressed. It's those times when you walk those paths that, you know, it's better that you just walked it without walking it. It's better that you just, you know, took that first foot and that second foot and just added on to your steps, like that poem or that picture that everybody has, and you know, the footprints and the footsteps in the sand, I believe. I know a lot of you guys had that, you know, hanging up in your houses, and especially in your bathrooms, though. But, you know, I'm not sitting right here, you know, just getting emotional just to get emotional. You know what I mean? I'm getting emotional because no matter what has happened, you know, no matter what is going on, no matter what I experience being, you know, in life, no matter what I'm experiencing now, whether if I fall, whether if I sin, whether if I come back up, whether if I repent, when I repent, no matter whatever this situation is, like, whatever the enemy took, whatever the enemy's still planning on taking, I trust that God got me on this path, and He got me on this journey. And He's going to replenish me. He's going to bless what the enemy took. And that's why I don't got no problem with walking this path. And I've been on this path for 42 years. And I'm going to continue to be on this path for another 42 and another 42. I'm going to still be on this path. And I encourage you, man, no matter where you at, no matter what age, God still bless you to be 39, 40, 41, 42, 50. It doesn't even matter. You're at the age where you at right now. You on this path. You on the path. I don't know if you on the path of righteousness. I don't know if you're on the path, but you just on the path in life. But it's either up to you or what you allow on that path. Or you going to allow God to walk with you on that path? Or are you going to allow God to not walk with you on that path? Or are you going to trust God on the path when you do allow Him to walk with you, or not? Or are you going to give up on that path? Or are you going to give up on that future? Or are you going to give up on that success? Or are you going to give up on yourself? Or are you going to give up on your children? Or are you going to give up on God? You know, I may not have talked about it too much. You know, I may not express it too much. People around me probably didn't understand it too much. because I didn't say anything. They just probably just couldn't figure me out. But this is my path. This is the path that I'm on. I'm on this path. Man, you guys is on a path as well. Your path is not going to make everybody happy. Your path is not going to appease everybody. Your path is not going to be on everybody else's time. When everybody else is telling you what time or when you should do this, or how many times they tell you, you know what I mean, you got to get out and you got to leave, or how many times, you know, they're reversing or they're thinking in their brain where they're going to, you know, give you up and let you go and just let it be. You know, the times when, you know, people's putting a time frame and a time limit on you to benefit them, it's not going to be on their time. It's going to be on God's time, though. But if you doing what you need to do, man, and if you making them strides, and piece by piece and piece by piece and piece by piece, you allowing God to do something in your life, man. You're going to experience what it really meant to walk on that path. You may lose people in the process. Those same people who wanted you to be on their time, those same people who put these type of expectations on you, the same people who basically did not understand your path or nourish your path, those are the ones that's not going to be around. Those are the ones who decided to leave and who decided to roll. And you still got to forgive them. You still got to forgive them. It's also part of the path as well. You still got to forgive them. You still got to show them love. You still got to let it go. Because in order for you to be on your path and do what God wants you to do, you got to be able to let that go as well. So, man, I encourage you to stay on this path. And I encourage you to continue to walk this path and trust God in this path. Right? You're going to deal with obstacles. You're going to deal with it, though. You're going to deal with it. You're going to deal with some type of addictions. You're going to deal with some vices. You're going to deal with things that you know that you've been dealing with for years and years and years. You know it. I know it. We all do. We all experienced it. But I'm just saying, today is the day, man. Whatever age you are, whatever age that you're at, whatever age that you're experiencing, whatever's going on in your life right now, it's your time right now to hop on that path. To hop on that path. And seek God in that path. It's not going to be easy, man. It's not. It's just not going to be easy. That's just how it is. It's not going to be easy. But through all the heartache and pain, through all the obstacles in life, man, the best thing to do, no matter what it is, and it don't matter what nobody tell you. It doesn't matter how many times they called you an addict. It doesn't matter how many times they called you a drug addict, an alcoholic. It doesn't matter how many times they called you a lowlife. It doesn't matter how many times they disrespected you. It doesn't matter how many times they kicked you out. It doesn't even matter. It don't matter. At this particular time, you have an opportunity to get on that path and not allow those words and those people or anything that was not of God to come against you, because you already know. You already know that you're an addict. You already know what you're dealing with. You already know what you're experiencing. You already know that you have a problem. So for anybody else to come on and keep on adding to that problem and not showing any type of consideration, any type of compassion, any type of nourishment, it could be a hindrance in your growth. So You have an opportunity, man. You have an opportunity. Behind me is the beach house. Usually, hold on, I'm still trying to get my thoughts together. Man, it's getting kind of hectic, man. It's getting heavy, man. Getting heavy. But it's good. It's good. It's good. This is the beach club right here on City Island. This is the west side of the island right here. It's the beach club. It opens back up in spring. People come down here. They have cigar events. Come down here and eat. Come down here and chill. Got the TVs up. Listen to music. People come down here, enjoy a couple drinks, man. Bring their families. We got some chairs down here. You know, back in the day, you used to be able to swim out here. We used to always do it when I was younger. You know, come out here and swim right here on the beach. And you had little sandboxes right here. But, you know, they stopped that though. Lifeguard would be like 2 lifeguards. It was dope, man. Like I said, it's not like no Ocean City, Maryland or nothing like that, though. But, you know, for us, man, when we was younger, here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, you know, we always came down here, man. I always like to come down here and chill. Even on my lunch breaks, at work, when I'm doing area checks. It's just beautiful, you know what I mean? That's the West Shore over there. I said it in one of my last videos. Look at that sun. Look at that. Look at the glory of God out here. You know, look at that, man. Even on a nice cold day, even on an emotional day, man, like, you know, still come out here and reverence God, man. This is beautiful, you know what I mean? It's beautiful. Like, look at what he created. Look at what he created. Starting with me. All creations is coming out here experiencing his glory, man. It's beautiful. But, yeah, this is the beach, man. It's beautiful out here, man. Come out here on that path. Go ahead, take a walk. Chill, relax. See what's popping. The water's pretty high. But it's alright though, it's all good, man. I like to come down here a lot, man, and puff and just chill, man. You know, get my mind right. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Look at that skyline. Susquehanna River. Look at that sun. Look at that sun. You got the beauty of God out here. You know? Sometimes, man. Sometimes. You want to experience situations in life. The enemy's going to come at us. Divorce is going to come at us, even when we don't want it. Child support is going to come at us, even when it's unnecessary. Sometimes our children's going to act up. Sometimes the people at our jobs is going to act up. Sometimes that person's going to try to get a little gansy and try to rob you or something. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. Sometimes we get robbed. Sometimes people steal from us. Sometimes people disrespect us. And a lot worse. There's a lot of people who definitely been through a lot of worse in life. But always try to find a time, man, to find solace in God's creation. I like to always come down here and listen to the water. In the summertime, though, where it's like real nice outside, man, and a lot of people is out, I'm gonna definitely be down here too.
you know, as well. A lot, you know, doing a lot of videos and stuff. But like I said, it's cold out this piece, man. 30-something degrees, man. The wind is blowing. You see them waves. See if we can get closer, we can hear it. I ain't trying to slip in the water, though. Take some time to allow nature to talk to you. It's beautiful, you know. It's one of the reasons why I got a nature, you know, a nature playlist on my YouTube channel. It's just beautiful though, so I definitely enjoy that though. So just wanted to show you guys the beach over here. I'm gonna get back in the wheel though, and then finish up this video, finish up this cigar. Man, didn't really expect to be crying on a video like that though, but I'm a grown man, you know what I mean? Be a man, cry. Said we got show emotions sometimes though, especially when we talk about the Spirit of God, man. I ain't perfect. I fall every day at times. I ain't perfect. I made bad decisions in my life. I ain't perfect. You know, I'm not gonna take all the blame, but I wasn't perfect in the marriage. I wasn't always a perfect dad. I wasn't always a perfect co-worker. Wasn't always a perfect son. Wasn't always a perfect athlete. Wasn't always a perfect boyfriend. Wasn't always a perfect baby daddy. I wasn't. You know, I take accountability for that. But one thing I'm not going to do, and allow the enemy to do, is let him determine the rest of my future with what I was lacking in, and I wasn't that good in, or was still learning to be good or better in, and elevated in. That's growth, you know. That's growth. Show you guys where I sleep at though real quick. That's basically it, man. A little junky, but that's my car, you know.